I booked every major WWE event in 2023, and it's your job to rank how I did out of 10 for each event in the comments. And first up is the Royal Rumble, and it's time to find out who drew number 1. It's Rey Mysterio, and he's going to need to outlast the entire field to main event WrestleMania, but he has to outlast number 2 first. Akira Tozawa draws number 2, and he's making his way down the entrance when he gets blindsided by Rhea Ripley. Ripley tears him apart and leaves him laying. She gets in the ring, and it seems as though she's going to take it upon herself to enter the Men's Royal Rumble. This is crazy. Is it even official? Well, we find out, because while they're facing off, Adam Pearce storms out and he says, No. This isn't happening. Rhea, you've never been officially entered into the Men's Rumble, so this is not going to go down. But then Rey Mysterio steps in and says, No, you let her. Maybe she needs to learn a lesson. And the crowd loves this. And unbelievably, Adam Pearce agrees and Rhea Ripley is officially in the Royal Rumble. And the crowd is rising. They want to see it. They think it's going to go down. The crowd hates this. It's The Miz. And he sprints into the ring and he gets between Rhea and Rey and he says, Oh, please. This isn't family therapy, okay? This is the friggin' Royal Rumble. But while he's berating them, Rhea picks him up and drops him with a riptide. She throws him out of the ring and The Miz is eliminated by Rhea Ripley. He's going crazy at ringside and Rhea is just laughing at him. But then from behind, Rey drop kicks her in the back and she goes flying over the top rope. Rey outsmarts her and she's gone now too. Ripley is completely incensed and she's forced to leave, but then it's time for number 4 to enter the Royal Rumble. Karrion Kross is in, someone Rey has a huge history with. He comes out and immediately gets Rey down and is raining down punches on him. He attempts to lock in the cross jacket, but Rey narrowly escapes. But it's all about survival right now for Rey Mysterio as he clings onto his spot in the Rumble. And we get the next entry, and it's someone very familiar to Kross. It's Drew McIntyre. He's one of the early favourites for the match, and he comes in and goes right at Karrion Kross. They exchange while Rey is down in the corner, and after a very eventful start to the match, it's time for number 6. And of course, it's Rey's son, Dominic. And yes, he is flanked by Rhea Ripley. But Rhea Ripley doesn't go all the way down to the ring with him. She's not allowed. Dominic hits the ring and he takes advantage of an already damaged Rey Mysterio. He's just stomping away on him as the crowd rains down boos on him. But despite this, the match must go on and the next man in is United States Champion Austin Theory. He gets over to Rey and Dominic and it looks like he might actually do the right thing and help Rey Mysterio. But of course he doesn't. He just continues to stomp away on Rey and the clock counts down again amidst this massive chorus of boos. It's fight night at the Royal Rumble. Sheamus hits the ring and immediately lends a hand to Drew McIntyre. The Banger Bros are back together again. They take it to Kross in one corner, all while Rey Mysterio is managing to fight back against Theory and Dominic. He's hanging tough, but the complexion of the match completely changes now because next in is Omos at number 9. Undoubtedly one of the favourites for the match, he hits the ring and he gets an immediate elimination of Karrion Kross, who was the first to go after him. And then Dominic tries it, but he gets dispatched. Theory tries, he gets dispatched. Rey tries, but no, he gets put down as well. It then leaves Sheamus and Drew. They just stare at the big man and the crowd rises. They want to see it. But he manages to throw Drew McIntyre out of the way. Sheamus then tries a bro kick, but he avoids and almost gets him in the powerbomb position and he tosses him over the top rope for the massive elimination. Omos has completely taken over this match. The American Nightmare is in the Royal Rumble. The crowd lifts the roof off. Cody is in at number 10, the very same number his dad Dusty came out in his only ever Royal Rumble appearance. Cody hits the ring and he goes right after Omos, who's the only one standing. He manages to work the big man over, get him down in the corner, but then from behind Dominic Mysterio smashes Cody in the back. But Cody turns around. He then nails Dominic. Dominic spins around and Rey is waiting. Dom storms off, but reminds his father that this is far from over. And now we've got McIntyre trying to eliminate Omos, Ray and Cody trying to eliminate Theory, and we're ready for the next entry. And it's Finn Balor. This is horrible news for Ray. Another Judgment Day member is in, and on his way to Ray, he collects Cody with a shotgun dropkick. He hits Theory with a sling blade and then starts brawling with Rey Mysterio. He's determined to eliminate Ray, but he can't quite do it. And now we have Cody and Theory in one corner, Omos and Drew in another, and the next entrant is ready to go. Bobby Lashley is in and business picks up even more. But Lashley is walking to the ring and Drew McIntyre manages to muscle Omos out of the match. It's a key elimination and we see a very tense moment as Omos and Lashley come face to face. But ultimately, they don't come to blows. Lashley hits the ring and Drew McIntyre goes wide for him, looks for a claymore, but Lashley evades it and McIntyre goes flying all the way over the top rope to the floor. One of the favourites is gone and Omos still hasn't left ringside. He and Drew just start immediately brawling all the way up the ramp. Sheamus then runs out, he joins, and the rest of the Brawling Brutes join as well. But they're quickly followed by Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. It's a Pier 6 brawl, complete chaos. They all fight off towards the backstage area and Lashley just watches on. Is he perhaps interested in joining the fight with his former business partners? He doesn't get to think about it though because Theory attempts to throw him out from behind, but he hangs on. Rhodes and Mysterio are trying to eliminate Finn Balor together, but he's hanging in there, and it's time for lucky number 13. The crowd sings along. The Drip God is in the building, and he hits the ring with a vengeance. Rollins hits a sling blade on Balor, then hits one on Rey Mysterio. Then he hits one on Rhodes, and then nails a sling blade on Theory as well. Theory ends up stunned against the ropes, and Rollins clotheslines him over. And Rollins laughs and he says, "See you later, kid." But then behind him, Lashley is poised. Rollins spins around. He sprints at Rollins, but he evades, and he sends Lashley flying over the top rope. It's an incredible run from Rollins. He gets rid of some massive hitters, and he's made a huge impact. But as Lashley walks off up the ramp, he's pissed. And he actually gets a chance to let that aggression out because the fight between the Brawling Brutes, Omos, Alexander and Benjamin has spilled out back onto the stage again. This time though, Lashley joins the fight. He spears every single member of the Brutes and he stands alongside Alexander, Benjamin and Omos, and the crowd loves it. And MVP says, "It looks like we might be back in business, huh boys?" But back in the ring, Lashley isn't the only major elimination. As Cody and Rollins meet in the middle of the ring again, the crowd gets excited. They want to see him go again. But on the other side, Ray and Balor are on the apron tediously close to being eliminated. Cody and Rollins start fighting and Rhodes nails him with a right hand. Rollins goes down but only to the middle rope. Balor tries to throw Ray, but he keeps running along the apron. Lands a 619 on Rollins. Ray quickly runs back at Balor and knocks him off the apron for the elimination. Ray has now eliminated almost every single member of Judgment Day. The incredible feat means we have 3 men left standing at around the midway point. Oh no. Judgment Day members just won't go away for Rey Mysterio. Priest comes down and he has a chance to get at Ray one-on-one because Cody and Rollins have resumed right where they left off. Priest dominates the exhausted Rey Mysterio. It seems like it's just a matter of time before Ray is gone. Ray is on the brink of elimination. All hope is fading so fast as he clings to life in the match.
He's looking in.
The Rated R superstar is back and he wants revenge. Edge motions to Ray to get up. He says he wants him to do the honors. Ray dials it up. He hits the 619 on Priest. Edge picks up Priest, one of the original members of Judgment Day, one of the original members to stab Edge in the back. He hangs him on the ropes. Ray clotheslines him over the top. And with that, Ray has eliminated every member of Judgment Day. But then Seth Rollins creeps up behind Rey Mysterio and throws him out of the match. It's absolute heartbreak for Ray, and Edge immediately goes on to fight him. And we have 3 huge favourites for the match still in there. It's Rhodes, Edge and Rollins. three current top stars at WWE are joined by one of its future stars, and he holds his own. He military presses Rollins over his head and drops him down. He runs at Cody in the corner with a massive lariat, and he actually lands a spear on one of the masters of an Edge. Breakker has a huge moment, and we hear the countdown begin again.
It's a new day, yes it is!
Kofi Kingston is in the Rumble, and he brought his New Day brothers, most notably Big E. The crowd goes crazy. Big E, who is unable to wrestle, is still here to support his friend. It's an amazing moment for the three of them, and Big E and Woods let Kofi go down by himself and get into the match. He gets into the ring and he takes it right to his fellow NXT roster member Bron Breakker, but Breakker is so strong, he tosses Kofi straight out of the ring. He's eliminated. Or is he? He walks on his hands to the corner and climbs the ring post. He leaps off for the double axe handle and takes out Bron Breakker. It's unbelievable. Kofi is still in, and it's time for the next entrant. It's Gunther. He gets in the ring and he has chops for everyone. Everyone but Breakker. He tries to chop him, but he avoids it. But what he can't avoid is a massive lariat. And just like that, Gunther has cleared the entire field, and the countdown begins to number 19. This is heating up now because Strowman comes right in and doesn't mess around at all. He stokes up the Strowman Express and he runs to every corner and lands splashes on anyone in his way. He then comes face to face with Gunther and they start trading. Strowman knocks him down, but he forgot one man, Kofi Kingston, who leaps off the top rope looking for a splash, but he gets caught. Strowman muscles him up and throws him straight out over the top rope. Kofi is actually gone this time, and the next entrant is in, and it's Chad Gable. He comes out and he's flanked by the big man Otis. Gable slides in the ring, but Strowman immediately grabs him and tosses him over the top rope. But he's not eliminated. Otis caught him, and Braun is screaming at him to throw him back in, but Otis refuses. He's just walking around ringside holding Chad Gable. And while Strowman is yelling at him, Bron Breakker comes up from behind Strowman and muscles him out of the ring. It's unbelievable power. Strowman is ropeable. One of the biggest threats in the match is eliminated so quickly. He walks after Otis, who is still holding Chad Gable, and they circle around the ring. And as they're doing it, the clock is counting down, and it's time for the next entrant. Bronson Reed, the Colossus, storms to the ring, but it's the same time that Braun is still on the outside hunting Otis, and they come face to face. And while Strowman is distracted, Otis puts Gable back in the ring and then runs at Strowman, and then they fight up the ramp as well. Reed enters, and as expected, he makes a huge impact. He goes right after Bron Breakker. He knows what kind of threat he is. He's too strong, and he gets Breakker out of the match. It's a massive elimination. But then from behind, it's Gable. He tries to power Reed out, but he reverses, and Gable is gone too. It's a tough day at the office for poor old Chad, and he's forced to shoosh. But there's no more time to waste, because the next man in is Shinsuke Nakamura, a former Royal Rumble winner. He enters, and the ring is really filling up now, full of potential winners all across the board, but with some big eliminations happened already. They're fighting for the right to main event WrestleMania. It's what we love about the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar, a man no one really talked about in the lead-up, but now a man who rockets into favoritism. The place comes unglued, and so does the match. Lesnar takes no prisoners. He eliminates Bronson Reed. He runs and eliminates Nakamura. His short time in the match is up, and he won't be winning again. Brock Lesnar doesn't care. He doesn't stop there. He comes face to face with the Rated R superstar and smashes him with an F5 as well, and he throws him over the top rope. The crowd can't believe the carnage. Lesnar tries to eliminate Cody next, but he hangs on somehow. He runs after Seth. He tries to eliminate him as well. Lesnar spins around and boom! He gets clocked by Gunther, but Lesnar's still trying to get back up. But Gunther nails him again with another lariat. He's still trying to get up though. Lesnar won't stay down. Gunther lines him up one more time, looks for a lariat, but instead he gets hooked up by an F5. Lesnar drops him, then picks up Gunther and throws him over the top rope. It's unbelievable scenes. Lesnar has taken this match and torn it to shreds. And Rhodes and Rollins try to work together. They try and get Brock Lesnar out of there. But it's time for the next entrant. And it's the modern day wrestling god, Baron Corbin. Corbin hits the ring and he's having a great time. He's talking trash to all three. But that's his biggest mistake because Lesnar fights out from underneath Rollins and Rhodes. He runs directly at Corbin, lifts him up, nails him with an F5, throws Corbin out, and we're right back to square one. Lesnar is going to be impossible to stop. And Johnny Gargano is into the fire, but this could be the worst time to enter the match with Lesnar on such a tear. But he faces it head on, and he goes right at Lesnar, and he actually holds his own. Johnny Wrestling is giving it everything. And on the other side, Cody and Seth, who have been in this match the longest, are slugging it out again. They're exhausted, but they must keep pushing for that main event of WrestleMania. They seem destined to do this forever. But the next man in is Ricochet, and he immediately joins Gargano in the fight to eliminate Lesnar. We know that Ricochet in the past has had a huge hand in the elimination of Brock Lesnar, but this is Brock Lesnar we're talking about. He fights back and he muscles them both into the corner. And yes, you guessed it, he lifts them both up and he nails them with a double F5. This is carnage, this is chaos, this is Lesnar, this is the Royal Rumble, and it's time for lucky number 27.
Woo, woo, woo. You know it.
It's Matt Cardona! What a moment! He's back in WWE after years of reinventing himself, and he's on a mission. And the first person he comes face to face with is another man who went away to reinvent. It's Cody Rhodes, and they have a brief face-off before Cardona tries to eliminate him. But Cody hangs on, and Cardona then turns his attention to the damaged Gargano. He throws him to the outside, but he holds on, but not for long. Matt Cardona is too strong, and he muscles out Johnny Gargano for the elimination. And now Rollins is trying to work over Lesnar. Ricochet has sought solace under the bottom rope, and it's getting right to the pointy end now. And it's time for the next entrant, and that man is Santos Escobar. He gets right into the thick of the action as well, and he makes an immediate impact by taking advantage of the other man who was torn apart by the F5 Ricochet. And much like Gargano, he's banged up, and he gets eliminated immediately by Escobar. And Escobar gets up close and personal with the Beast as well. He's trying to eliminate him alongside Rollins, but before we know it, we're set for entrant 29. Riddle is back. The King of Bros sprints down to the ring and he is on fire. He lays out Escobar with an RKO. He then lays out Cody with an RKO. Rollins is next in line too. Cardona isn't safe either. He wears one as well, but that's only just the start. We get the face-off we've had before, but this one feels different. It's Riddle, it's Lesnar, and it breaks out into a crazy shoot-style brawl. It's incredibly intense. Riddle even gets busted open in the scuffle as well, but he doesn't hold back. He even opens up Lesnar. It's insane. They fight near the ropes, but both men end up toppling over together. They fight all the way up the ramp until they're eventually pulled apart by security. It's a quick exit for Riddle, but he doesn't care because he's got something else massive on the horizon for him with unfinished Brock Lesnar business. But when the dust settles on that, it's time for the coveted number 30 spot. The final man in the Royal Rumble is Sami Zayn, sent by Roman Reigns after narrowly defending the Universal Championship against Kevin Owens, where Sami Zayn refused to land the final blow on Owens and almost cost Reigns the whole match. But now Zayn is here to show one last act of loyalty and, in Reigns' words, protect the bloodline. And just like that, it's down to 3. Rhodes, Rollins and Zayn. and the crowd rises to their feet. It's anyone's Rumble to win now, and the three absolutely explode to life. Zayn nearly goes. Rollins nearly goes. Rhodes is nearly gone as well, but it culminates in a total flurry. Sami Zayn throws Rhodes into the corner, and he lands a haluva kick on him, and Rollins is in the other corner. He's going to try and nail him too. He runs at him, but Rollins moves. Rollins picks him up. He's got him in the powerbomb position. He's going to run towards the corner for a buckle bomb, but Zayn redirects. He shifts his weight. Hurricane Run as Rollins over the top rope. Seth Rollins is gone. It's down to 2. Sami picks him up, throws him out, but Cody hangs on. He's holding on for his life, everything he's got. Zayn tries to knock him off, but Cody gets the feet up. He knocks Zayn off balance. He gets back in the ring. He nails him with a crossroads, picks him up, and throws him over the top rope. Cody Rhodes narrowly wins the Royal Rumble. He's booked his ticket to WrestleMania, but it's far from over for him for the night, because Roman Reigns storms out to the ring during Cody's celebration and violently spears him. And immediately he starts raining down blows on him. All as Zayn watches on and he's yelling at Cody. He's saying, "You acknowledge him, Cody. Acknowledge your tribal chief." And Roman stops. He has his back to Zayn, and you can feel the tension. Sami is looking at Roman, not knowing what to think, but the crowd knows. Reigns drops Zayn and starts hammering away on him now. The crowd is booing him out of the building. They can't believe what they're seeing. It's finally happened. But then Kevin Owens' music hits. He runs out and comes to the rescue of his friend. He's going to fight alongside him this time, but he gets cut off by the Usos. They take out Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns throws Zayn to the wolves as well. The Usos take both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn away, and Roman finally gets Cody one-on-one again. And he starts hammering away at him. It's helpless. Roman has finally lost it. He's snapped, and he isn't stopping. The Rock is here. He gets in the ring, and Roman goes at him. The Rock looks to hit him with a rock bottom, but Roman Reigns escapes. He rolls out of the ring and walks off up the ramp. The Rock helps up Cody, and they both stand and face Roman Reigns. This is his future. He has to face his family, and the man doing it for his family. Roman has an extremely electrifying nightmare to deal with. Of course, from the Royal Rumble, you have to head to WrestleMania. It's Rollins versus Paul to kick off proceedings, and this match is insane. They're throwing everything at each other. It absolutely tears the house down to start the show. There's high spots galore, including Logan looking for his top rope dive through the announce table. But Rollins moves. Logan crashes and burns. Logan is in big trouble. Rollins rolls him in the ring, and now he's stalking him. He wants to stomp, but Logan counters, flings him into the air, and lands a massive right hand. Rollins is out cold. 1, 2, no! Rollins manages to get up just in time. Logan picks him up, puts him in the corner, and looks for a splash, but Rollins counters. He leaps off the middle rope, and out of nowhere, nails him with a stomp. Rollins wins it, and the crowd is going mental. That's how you kick off the biggest show of the year. But as Rollins is celebrating and enjoying the win, he gets cut off. The Miz is out here to host WrestleMania, and he says, "I'm kind of happy to see Logan lose, honestly. It should come as no surprise because I wasn't by his side, but that's not the point. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to host WrestleMania, the most must-see superstar in WWE at the most must-see event on the calendar. And as the biggest megastar on this show, it brings me great pleasure to..." It's LA Knight, and he gets right in the Miz's face and he says, "I'm sorry, my ears were burning. I could have swore you said the biggest megastar on the roster, and when you talk about the biggest megastar on the roster, I know you're talking about LA Knight.
Yeah!
And The Miz is disgusted. He says, "Oh, please. If you were the biggest star in the company, then why don't you have anything going on at WrestleMania? You're pathetic." And Knight wastes no time. The brawl is on, and LA Knight is on top, and he's taking it to The Miz. But this is The Miz. He scurries out of the ring, and the Hollywood crowd is incensed. And so is LA Knight. He runs out after him, but he gets dropped by The Miz with a skull-crushing finale. And now The Miz, who's fuming over his hosting duties being ruined, throws Knight in the ring, grabs the stairs from the outside, and he's going to put LA Knight out for good. Stone Cold Steve Austin! He runs in and he gives a massive stunner to The Miz. The crowd is going crazy. Austin throws The Miz to the outside of the ring, but as he turns around, he notices LA Knight's back to his feet, and this rises the crowd again. This is one hell of a meeting of the minds. Austin and Knight sharing the same ring, and Austin turns and calls for some beers. But before they're even thrown at him, Austin tries to stun LA Knight, but he counters and he slides out of the ring and he says, "Oh, no. I know a rattlesnake. I know your game, and it ain't as good as LA Knight's game."
Yeah!
Austin watches as LA Knight leaves. Knight is fuming. He nearly got stunned by the rattlesnake. And Austin plays to the crowd, but now it's time for the next match. And it's Tag Team Turmoil. This match is for a shot at the Tag Team Championships in the future. And it's the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy versus Ricochet and Braun Strowman. The action is out of control, as you'd imagine. Strowman is destructive. Ricochet flying all over the ring. The Viking Raiders are ruthless. The Street Profits are smooth and working extremely well together. But the real story of the match is how distracted Otis is with Maxine Dupree. And it eventually costs them the big match because Otis decides to walk out on Gable, leaving him alone and vulnerable. Braun Strowman steamrolls Gable. Ricochet is poised on the top rope and they strike. Strowman takes out everyone else while Ricochet gets the cover and they win. A future Tag Team Championship match is secured. And after the match, we see backstage LA Knight still fuming about what happened with The Miz and Stone Cold. "Hey Austin, if you haven't run off with your little rattlesnake tail between your legs, I'll be finding you at some point tonight again." LA Knight doesn't take nothing from nobody. I'll see you soon.
Yeah!
And up next, it's time for Bray Wyatt versus Bobby Lashley. And to say this one is weird is a big understatement. The match goes on as normal for the first small part of it, but eventually it degenerates into Wyatt's usual antics. Bobby Lashley has Wyatt right where he wants him, but as he tries to go for a spear, the lights go out. And when they come back on, it's a terrifying image. Alexa Bliss is back. She's clearly fully under the power of Bray Wyatt. Lashley is confused, but as he walks towards her, the lights go out again. When they come back on, it's somewhat different. This time it's Uncle Howdy, and Lashley is even more confused. But this is what he had to expect, and he's even more pissed off. He sprints at Uncle Howdy looking for a spear, but the lights go out again. And as they come on, Lashley is in the clutches of Bray Wyatt, and he's hit with a sister Abigail. Wyatt wins. The mind games and the distractions were too much for Bobby Lashley. Then, lights go out again. When they come back on, Bray is gone. Uncle Howdy is gone. Alexa Bliss, nowhere to be seen. Lashley is left to ponder what on earth just happened. It's time for the massive US title match between John Cena and Austin Theory. Theory has a lot to prove. Cena, nothing. He's arguably the greatest of all time, and he gets on top of Theory early. He's so much more experienced and has been here and done this before. Theory gets so frustrated that he tries to take a chance. Cena picks him up for an AA, but as he spins him around, Theory's leg hits the referee and the referee goes down. Theory fights out of the AA, goes to the outside and grabs a chair. He slides back in the ring, but Cena is up, Cena's ready, and he stops him and says, "Yeah, see, this is typical, Austin. You can't fight like a man, and this is why no one cares. You do things like this. You got no balls. How about you earn the respect?" Theory takes this to heart. He says, "No balls, huh? How's this?" And he throws the chair to the outside of the ring. But as he turns around, Cena nails him with an AA. The referee's back up. 1, 2, no! Theory kicks out. Cena knows he's going to need another. He picks him up, but Theory escapes this time, and he gets his chance. He picks him up. A-town down. 1, 2, no! Theory can't believe it. He's beside himself, and he retreats to the outside again. He gets the chair again, but he's conflicted. He's pacing around. He doesn't know what to do, and he decides against it. He throws the chair down, slides back in the ring, but again, Cena lifts him up for an AA. But this time Theory fights out, and Theory picks Cena up and lands an AA of his own. But he knows he needs more. He rolls through, and then he has Cena up on his shoulders and hits the A-town down. Theory retains the US title over one of the greatest of all time. And he didn't need to cheat. He fronted up and got the job done. And Cena respects this. He approaches Theory after the match for a handshake. But Theory has learned nothing. He low blows Cena and the crowd boos him out of the building. But Theory doesn't care. He leaves with his head held high and the biggest win of his career under his belt. And as he gets backstage, he's asked for comment by Byron Saxton. And Theory cuts him off and says, "You want to comment? Well, how about a statement? I'm not done this weekend. I'm carrying this momentum into tomorrow night as well. And in honor of John Cena's career that I just ended, I'm having a US title open challenge. Come one, come all. I'll see you tomorrow." It's time for what will undoubtedly be the most hard-hitting match of the entire weekend. All three men just beat the living hell out of each other with everything in their arsenal. It's complete carnage. There's chops, there's punches, there's blood. It's a savage war. And it culminates when Drew McIntyre and Sheamus actually work together to neutralise the Austrian. And it works. They take out Gunther. And then we have a moment with the two in the middle of the ring and they trade. They're throwing bomb after bomb at each other, but they both need to try and put it away. And just like on SmackDown, they both collide with a Claymore and a Bro kick at the same time, knocking both men out. And now Gunther is stirring. He gets back in the ring and he lines up Sheamus, who's trying to get to his feet, and Gunther laces him with a powerbomb. And out of pure exhaustion after the war, just falls onto Sheamus and narrowly retains the title. The record-breaking title run stays intact. Gunther is on his way to becoming one of the longest reigning Intercontinental Champions ever. Ripley versus Charlotte, the ultimate showdown between two of the most dominant women in wrestling. It's the perfect blend of technical and pure power. They show the world just why they are elite talent. But Charlotte is wily. She knows what she's doing, and she goes right after the legs. It's just like WrestleMania in 2020. She's ruthless with it. She doesn't stop, even going as far as locking in the figure four around the ring post. It's complete brutality. And Ripley can barely walk. Charlotte locks in the figure four in the middle of the ring. But as always, she turns it in to a figure eight. Just like WrestleMania 36, it's history repeating. Ripley is in massive trouble. She's got to tap. She has no choice. But Ripley isn't here to repeat history. She's here to make it. She fights out, but she's so weak she can barely follow up. And Charlotte knows this. She's going to try and look for natural selection. But Ripley narrowly avoids that, and now she wastes no time. Ripley does it on the big stage. She gets rid of those ghosts of WrestleMania 36. Ripley gets what she deserves. A phenomenal year is capped off with the biggest win of her career. We still have some emotional and phenomenal action to go on night one. Let me talk to you. I'm not talking to you dummies. I'm talking to Stone Cold Steve Austin, who I know for a fact is still here. So why don't you... Austin isn't in the mood to listen to LA Knight. He gets in the ring and he stuns him immediately and he walks off. But as Austin is walking off up the ramp, LA Knight screams out to him. He says, "Is that all you got, Austin? You ain't got nothing." He slides in, but LA Knight jumps straight on him, and they start brawling all over the ring. And Austin looks for another stunner, but Knight avoids it this time. He slides out of the ring, and the rattlesnake is coiled. And Knight says, "See, you dummy. What did I say? You ain't got nothing like you used to. You're pathetic." And Austin snaps. He says, "You just wrote a check your ass can't cash, Knight. And I got one question, but it ain't for you, you jackass. It's for them. If you want to see me whoop LA Knight's ass, give me a hell yeah." I said, if you want to see me open up a can of whoop ass on this son of a bitch, give me a hell yeah. Well, that settles it, son. I'll see your ass tomorrow night. It's unbelievable. Knight versus Austin on night 2 of WrestleMania. But again, that's tomorrow. And we still have the main event of the evening for night 1. And it couldn't be more personal. The over year-long culmination of this personal rivalry, and it is heated. Owens and Zayn work incredibly well together, but so do the Usos. It's a tight and tense affair, everyone on the edge of their seat. And Jay takes it upon himself to put Sami Zayn through as much pain as possible. The story was always about them, but one telling moment was when Jimmy was on top of Sami. And he's screaming at him, he's saying, "You think he was your brother? You think you'd replace me? We're blood, Us." Showing that there was always a piece of Jimmy that was jealous of his brother's relationship with Sami. And the story reaches its stunning conclusion, because here comes Solo Sikoa down to ringside at the orders of the Tribal Chief. And it's Kevin Owens that gets to him first, and they're brawling on the outside. It's all Owens. Sikoa hasn't even laid a hand on him, and with the referee distracted by this, Jey Uso takes his chance. Zayn is looking at the commotion on the outside. Jey has a chair. Zayn has his back turned. It's so familiar. And he cracks Sami Zayn across the back. He falls to the ground. Jey gets rid of the evidence, goes to the top, and he's going to look for the splash. But on the outside, Owens stuns Sikoa. He stuns Jimmy as well. And Owens gets on the apron, pushes Jey off the top, and then he runs around to his corner, and he's begging Sami Zayn for the tag. The crowd is up. They need it. They want to see it. He's desperate for the tag. The crowd is on fire. Zayn crawls over, gets the emotional tag, and Owens comes in. He hits him with a stunner, but he doesn't pin him. He props him up in the corner, tags Sami Zayn in and says, "You deserve this." Owens and Zayn have done it together. WrestleMania Night 1 goes off the air with one of the most wholesome moments we've ever seen. Owens was there for his friend. No, he was there for his brother. It's all Sami ever wanted. Acceptance. And he's vindicated in Hollywood. That's one nail in the bloodline coffin. But it'll be up to Cody tomorrow night to finish the story. Lesnar kicks off night 2. It's the Battle of the Behemoths. And Lesnar is in the ring, pacing around and waiting for the giant Omos. And he comes out flanked by MVP. But as soon as they ring the bell, it's destruction. Right away as well, MVP gets dropped with an F5. And now they fight all over ringside, trashing the entire area. And after just a couple of minutes of chaos, Omos has Lesnar up on the top turnbuckle. Surely not! He muscles him up and lands a superplex, and it destroys the entire ring. The referee has to stop the match. The area is no longer fit for competition. The crowd can't believe it. But Omos and Lesnar do not stop fighting. They fight all the way out into the crowd and all the way to the back. But the ring is still destroyed. And backstage, Triple H is seen telling all the staff to run out and fix it. And he grabs the Miz and he says, "Miz, you're the host. You need to get out there and entertain the people while they fix the ring. Come on, go, 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 go." And the Miz does, and he comes out and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we seem to be having some technical difficulties, and to be honest, I'm actually kind of glad, because this gives me the most must-see superstar in WWE and the host of WrestleMania, the best host of all time."
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Miz is furious. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston come out, and everyone loves it. They're former hosts of WrestleMania as well. And Woods says, excuse me? We thought we heard you say the best host ever, which is erroneous. Everyone knows the best host ever is the New Day. You remember, Miz? We were part of one of the biggest and craziest returns in the history when the Hardys came back. And tonight, we're going to be part of another. Big E is back on WWE programming, and the crowd loses their minds. They're on their feet, and Big E is reunited with his brothers. But The Miz is even more furious now, and he says, "Oh, so cute. You guys haven't even been separate. You've been at events, you've been traveling the world together. It's not that big of a deal." Big E loves it, and he's not cleared to compete or get physical, but the crowd loves seeing him. But now, the ring is fixed, and it's time for the show to continue. And it's tag team turmoil. And of course, the winner gets a future tag team title match against Lita and Becky. It's Raquel and Liv versus Shayna and Ronda versus Natty and Shotzi versus Carmella and Chelsea Green. And just like last night, it's complete chaos. Raquel and Liv are surprisingly the destroyers in this match. Raquel with her size and Liv with her guts. Natty and Shotzi get theirs in though too. They enjoy the battle. Shayna and Ronda, unsurprisingly, take it to everyone. Well, not everyone, because Carmella and Chelsea Green are hanging back. They haven't laid a finger on anyone, nor had a finger laid on them. Because back in the ring, the last two women standing are Ronda and Liv. The rest of the women are down. Ronda tries for an armbar on her, but Liv uses her courage to get out. And then Liv gets her up against the ropes, nails Oblivion, but before she can follow up, she's thrown out of the ring by Carmella. Mella pins Ronda, and with only one action in the match, Carmella and Chelsea have secured a tag team championship match. It's unbelievable, and this does not go down well with the crowd, but it's the reality. Mella and Chelsea don't care. They celebrate on the entrance, but as they do, Mella and Chelsea Green make a run for it. They can run for now, but they won't be able to run when they challenge for the titles. But this next match isn't about the tag titles. It's about the bitter rivalry between Damage Control, Becky, Trish, and Lita. And this match lives up to what people hoped. All 6 women bring it. But it culminates in an absolute flurry. Lita hits a massive moonsault on Io, wiping both of them out. Trish and Dakota both throw a kick at the same time and connect at the same time, wiping each other out. Becky has Bayley up looking for an avalanche manhandle slam, but Bayley reverses. She turns it into an avalanche Bayley to belly. She doesn't stop there though. She nails her with a rose plant as well to make sure of it. And just like that, Damage Control have recorded their biggest win yet as a group. They've established some valuable momentum. But you get the feeling this one is far from over. But if you thought that one was personal, there's nothing on the next match. Edge is here. It's time for Hell in a Cell. But Edge gets what he asked for on Raw. Edge summoned the demon to meet the devil. And the cell is locked, and it takes no time at all for this to degenerate into a war. Edge has a lot of experience in this match. He knows just how to use the cell to his advantage. But this isn't the usual Finn Balor. This is the demon. And he gets violent as well. They both use all the weapons they can throw at each other. But as Edge is getting the better of Balor, here comes Damian Priest. But of course, this is Hell in a Cell, so what can he even do? Dom is getting ready for his match with his father later on, but Priest is still trying to get in. But it's very symbolic of Edge having to watch Beth at the end of the I Quit match. But what Priest doesn't notice is Beth has dragged out the new women's champion Rhea Ripley to watch. Edge has the demon set up and smashes him with a concerto. Edge wins. Edge exorcises the demon. And as soon as they raise the cell, Priest tries to get at Edge, but he gets speared and Edge slithers away. Beth throws Rhea down and says, "We aren't done yet either, Rhea. Your days are already numbered with that championship." And after the ring is cleared, it's time for another highly anticipated match. It's the Austin Theory US Open Challenge in honor of John Cena. And he says, "Last night was the biggest win of my career." No doubt. And now, it's time for me to double down on my legacy. So come one, come all. The US Open Challenge is officially open. You want some? Come, get some. Braun Breaker, the former NXT champion who only just lost it to Carmelo Hayes at Stand and Deliver. He's right into the thick of the action. The bell rings and Theory gets nailed with a spear right away. The crowd can't believe it. Theory is in big trouble. Braun picks him up and drops him down. Theory is rocked. The whole locker room is rocked. Braun Breaker has arrived on the main roster and he's already a champion. Theory is forced to eat all the words that he spoke, and it's a lesson that longevity in this industry doesn't come easy. But if we're talking longevity, there is no one with more longevity than Rey Mysterio, and he makes the lonely walk towards the toughest match of his life. And with no Finn, Priest or Ripley by his side, Dominic cuts a lonely figure too. He got himself into this, and now he's going to have to fight his way out. The bell rings and they face off. Ray still hasn't put hands on his son, and Dominic is right in his face trying to force him to do it. It's extremely emotional. Dominic pushes Ray over, and Ray gets out of the ring. He's so conflicted. He's pacing around outside, and Dominic is in the ring talking all kinds of trash. But it's one thing that he says that sets it alight. He said, "You'd never hit your son, right?" "Well, I'm not your son. I'd never claim to be the son of someone as pathetic as you. I have no father." And it's on. Ray is going to teach him a lesson. And Ray is all over Dominic. His legendary experience is way too much for him. But as Ray is in the process of hitting him, he stops. He goes to the corner. He's crying. He says he can't do it. He can't continue. He feels like a monster. Dominic gets up. He walks over to him. And he's emotional as well. Has Dominic reformed? Has he realized that this was all too much? No. And Ray sees red. He hits Dom with a combo. He hits the Hurricane Rana, dials it up, and lands the 619. He defeats Dominic, totally against his will. And after the match, Ray picks up Dominic off the ground, and he says, "Whether you love me or not, I always love you, Dominic." But instead of disrespecting him, Dominic hugs his father. They went to battle, and it was within the battle that Dominic realized how far his father would go for him. It's a heartwarming moment, and both men leave together, leaving the Judgment Day's future in doubt, but no doubt about this father-son relationship. Stone Cold Steve Austin is here, and it's time for Knight versus Austin. This was a match only made official last night, but the two men on night 2 have a good old-fashioned slobber knocker. It's a no DQ match at the request of Stone Cold as well, and he drags LA Knight all over. It's typical Austin. It's everything you'd expect, but LA Knight gets his own in too. He makes sure to let Austin know that the megastar is made of good stuff. So much so that the younger man is able to get right on top in the match, and he absolutely plants Austin head first into the mat. And now, he's lining him up to finish him off. But it's then we see someone arrive. But LA Knight doesn't care. He says, "Ha, how's the neck, you dummy?" And Big E says nothing. He just lets his actions do the talking. Big E gets physical. Does this mean he's back? Was this New Day's plan all along? It's unbelievable. Big E leaves, Knight is down, and Austin pounces with a stunner. The crowd comes unglued, and Austin picks up the win. He's gone back-to-back with victories at WrestleMania, and that's all well and good, but the big news is Big E might just be back to full health. And it's time for the semi-main event. It's Asuka, the new Asuka, versus Bianca Belair, who's found it extremely tough to prepare for this match as she's never seen this Asuka before. And we find out why this will be the toughest match of her career, because Asuka is violent. She's ruthless. Bianca can't find any momentum at all. Asuka is wild, but it's the one mistake that lets Bianca in. Bianca has a small opening, and boy does she light it up. She's like a fire-breathing dragon. Bianca gets back in it. She sets her up for the KOD, but as she flips her over, Asuka spits mist in Bianca's face. Bianca is writhing around in pain. Asuka just laughs. She casually walks over, locks in the Asuka lock, and Bianca Belair goes to sleep. And with that, Asuka is the new Raw Women's Champion. The history-making reign of Bianca Belair is over, but Bianca's historic reign isn't the only one in jeopardy tonight. It's the match everyone has been waiting for. It's Roman Reigns, this generation's greatest champion, the leader of the bloodline, the one, taking on a man who's gone from undesirable to undeniable, the American Nightmare who wants to live the American dream and finish the story. The match is epic. It starts slow with the big match feeling out process. It's all about getting that early upper hand, but it quickly turns into the typical Roman Reigns dominance. He's all over Rhodes, and with that dominance comes cockiness. And Roman Reigns starts talking trash to Rhodes. And he's saying, "Dusty taught me all about this. He taught me to relax under the pressure. He taught me to compose myself, and I'm composed, Cody. I'm loving this." But how you feeling, huh? Bit of pressure? Dusty never taught you how to beat me. You can't do it, so just give up. Rhodes is back in it. He's fighting with everything he has. He needs to do this. He needs to do this for himself, for his family, for everybody in the crowd. and he flies off the top rope and there's a massive Cody cutter for a tight 2 count. And even right after that, he hits a massive Jay Driller, and it's gotta be over. But he only gets him down for another 2. Reigns isn't going away that easily, and neither is the Bloodline, because here they come. But with Jimmy and Solo lagging a little bit behind Jay, he doesn't even notice that Owens and Zayn come out, take out Jimmy and Solo, and Jay gets to the apron. But that's when he realizes they're gone. He's there by himself. And Paul Heyman, in a panic, starts remonstrating with the referee on the other side. And Reigns instructs Jay to get a chair. So he does. And now it's Rhodes, Reigns, and Jey Uso facing off. Jay has a choice. But what does he do? Jay makes his choice. It's incredibly dramatic. And Reigns says, "I knew you'd do the right thing." And Jay replies, "Yeah, I will." Jay hits Roman. You can barely hear anything in the arena. It's a wall of noise. Heyman can't believe it. He jumps down off the apron in shock. Cody is stirring. He gets to his feet and he sees what's going on. He sees the chance. He hits him with a crossroads. And another. And another. The crowd is on their feet and Cody Rhodes wins. And of all people, it's Jay who helps Cody finish the story. And as WrestleMania goes off the air, the landscape of the WWE has changed forever. But the action only heats up after WrestleMania as we head to Money in the Bank. And we open white hot with the men's Money in the Bank match. It's complete carnage, bodies flying everywhere. Everyone's risking it all for the case that basically grants you a championship in the future, including Logan Paul and Ricochet, who create yet another viral moment. From one ladder to the other, they leap off and collide, crashing to the canvas. They're both wiped out, and it gives the chance to Shinsuke Nakamura. He climbs to the top, he reaches up, he's got the case. But no, it's Bronson Reed, and he's not even in this match. He's so jealous that he didn't qualify that he's here to tear it apart. He throws Nakamura off the ladder, and then sets him up on another one on the outside. And it's time for another viral moment. Reed wipes out Nakamura with a giant tsunami, but as he gets up, Santos Escobar cracks him with a chair. He lays out the dangerous Aussie, but you need eyes in the back of your head because here comes Butch. He's just gonna fight anyone, and they start brawling all over ringside. The fists are flying, and Butch manages to get Santos stunned right over a pile of weaponry, and he takes his chance. He nails a bitter end. Butch now has his chance. He slides in the ring and he climbs. He reaches up for the case, but he's not quick enough. Damian Priest is there now, and he and Butch are brawling on top of the ladders. It's on a knife's edge, and surely the man to hang on will be Mr. Money in the Bank. Both Priest and Butch crash to the ground. They're both out. They roll out of the ring and the place erupts because they know that LA Knight is going to climb. And he reaches the top. He's got his hand on the case. No! Logan Paul launches himself onto the ladder and starts climbing. The crowd can barely watch. Surely not this way. Logan has Knight teetering. He's inches away from knocking him off. It's almost game over. But Logan Paul finds out whose game it really is. It's LA Knight's game, and he fights back, knocks Logan off the ladder, and now it's time. The megastar is truly that. He is now Mr. Money in the Bank. LA Knight now has a bevy of options, a whole host of championships he could challenge for. And when he gets backstage, he's asked for his reaction, and he says, "Reaction? Nah. It's time for action. So I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be waiting. There's a hell of a lot of champions on this card tonight, and maybe there'll be a brand new one as well, with everybody saying, L.A. Knight. Knight sets the tone, and it's the whole roster that's on notice, and that very much includes the Intercontinental Champion Gunther, who has a big match with Matt Riddle up next, and this one is white hot as well. Riddle, of course, nursing the leg injury after the assault from Gunther and Kaiser on Raw, is at a significant disadvantage, and Gunther, being cocky, has told Imperium to stay backstage and he's going to handle Riddle one-on-one. And he works the leg over big time. He dominates Riddle. He locks in an ankle lock and Riddle is so close to tapping. Riddle is screaming in pain, but he's a fighter and he manages to escape somehow. He gets some separation, but he also gets a difference-making knee to Gunther's jaw, and it rocks the big Austrian. Riddle rallies and he fires up. He's now looking like he could do the unthinkable. And as this happens, we see backstage Kaiser and Vinci on their way out, but they don't make it. Owens and Zayn are here and they wipe them out. These two teams are fighting later on in the night for the tag team titles, but they can't wait. And with the coast seemingly clear, Riddle is lining up Gunther. We then see something unexpected. A masked individual gets on the apron. Riddle is so confused. And Gunther is up now and he's distracting the referee. And Riddle, still focused on him, approaches. But he gets dropped by a headbutt and this gives the opening to the ring general. He smashes him with a lariat, picks him up and lands a devastating powerbomb. It's over. Gunther retains again. But who was it under the mask? Well, perhaps we'll find out later in the night when Imperium take on Owens and Zayn. But there's no rest for the wicked as we launch into the next big match. And that, of course, is Charlotte Flair versus Asuka for the WWE Women's Championship. And with the added element of former Women's Champion Bianca Belair at ringside, this one gets heated fast. Charlotte and Asuka put on a wrestling clinic. They are toe-to-toe, blow for blow, incredibly even. They know each other so well that they manage to avoid the instant match-ending moves that each other possess. But it's only a matter of time before the match comes apart completely. On the outside, Charlotte looks for a spear on Asuka, but once again she moves. But this time Charlotte connects with Bianca. Asuka takes Charlotte, slams her head off the LED ring post, and this is where things get even more crazy, because Asuka is lining up Charlotte, and as she gets to her feet, Asuka looks for the mist, but Charlotte moves, and it gets Bianca instead. Unbelievable! Charlotte throws Asuka in the ring off the distraction. She lines her up, and she nails her with a spear. But Flair isn't done. She locks in the figure eight. She's got it cinched in. And Asuka is gonna have to tap. She has no choice. She's got nowhere to go. No, it gets broken up by Bianca Belair, who has snapped. The match gets thrown out. She's covered in green mist, but she's seeing red. She destroys both women. KODs all round. She's seen and heard enough. She waited patiently, but this was too much. Belair stamps her authority and decimates them both. She leaves in a rage, leaving this issue far from over, but no question that a triple threat is in the future. But speaking of the future, a future champion is seen backstage again in LA Knight. And he crosses paths this time with US champion Austin Theory, and Theory says, "Congratulations, Knight. Hopefully you're half as successful as me." And LA Knight laughs it off and says, "Kid, get on the card and then we'll talk. I've got some pretty big fish to fry and you might be one of them, but you're not in the pan right now. But if it ever presents itself, make no mistake, I'll take what I want when I want, including your strap." And then Knight walks off, but as he does, he's confronted by another champion. "Knight, if you even consider for 1 second coming for me and my Intercontinental Championship, just know that you'll end up just like Riddle." Riddle, huh? Yeah, well, how about you riddle me this? Who the hell's under the mask? In fact, you know what? I don't even care, because I know what's under the lid of this briefcase, and it's a contract for any championship at any time. And if you're the ring general, then that makes me the ring master, and I'll give you the stone cold facts. It's LA Knight's game, and you're just playing it.
Yeah!
It's going to be a fun ride with LA Knight holding all the cards in that briefcase, but we find out who will hold the other one as the women's Money in the Bank match provides just as much chaos as the men's. Bodies flying everywhere, high risk for an extremely high reward. But not surprisingly, there's some teaming in this one. Friends Zoe Stark and Trish Stratus team up to neutralize their enemy Becky Lynch, who they've been at war with. Becky gets driven right through the announce table. But they aren't the only team in this match, and we get a face-off in the ring between Damage Control and the two women who just did all the damage to Becky Lynch. All four spill to all corners of the ring in a wild brawl. They've forgotten all about the prize, but one person hasn't. Zelina Vega has so wisely positioned herself outside of the limelight, but she is about to try and thrust herself directly back into it. She climbs the ladder, and she's about to grab the case, but Io Sky sees. She sprints back in the ring, scales the ladder, and stops Zelina in her tracks. They're both fighting, and it's incredibly precarious. And with Bayley dismantling both Trish and Zoe Stark on the outside, she gets in the ring to help. It's then though, Zelina flings Io off the ladder, but she corrects and inadvertently moonsaults directly onto Bayley. Zelina is in the clear. She can win it. She reaches up. She grabs the case. No, Becky Lynch has somehow recovered. She stopped Vega in her tracks, and she manages to wipe her out of commission now. The man has come around. She scales the ladder, but Trish isn't gonna let this go down. She fights her way back up, and now they are both face to face on top, and they are trading. Becky goes for broke. She grabs Trish, and she delivers a manhandle slam, and they both crash and burn. And now, on the outside of the ring, we see Bayley arguing with Io. She's screaming at her for landing on her, but the argument quickly stops when they both notice that the ladder is still set up. They both slide in the ring, and they climb together. And when they reach the top, Bayley says, "Your time will come, Io, but this is my time." Sky finally snaps. She's finally had enough of Bayley. She shoves her off the ladder, and the genius of the Sky reaches for the Sky and wins. She takes her opportunity. She seizes control. But if you want to talk about control, you have to be talking about Imperium when they try to take control of the Tag Team Championships. And with Kevin Owens' recent anger issues, it's unsurprising to see this one get off to a fast start with Owens at the forefront. But Kaiser and Vinci are no pushovers. They give it all back tenfold. And the match is incredibly even, but because of this, we see the Ring General, who is growing concerned, walk out. Of course, he's backed by the mysterious masked individual. However, they aren't alone for long, because here comes Riddle steaming out from the back. He wants to fight them both, but it's 2-on-1, and he gets dismantled by Gunther and the Mystery Man. But this is enough of a distraction that Owens can chop block Vinci, who had that very ankle injured by Riddle previously. Zayn is able to take out Kaiser on the other side, and it opens the door for Kevin Owens to hit a stunner and get the win. But there is no celebration. Gunther and the Mystery Man hit the ring and beat them both down. Zayn is wiped out. Owens is wiped out. But as the two leave the ring, 2 becomes 4 on the ramp. And we find out who was under the mask. Imperium is whole once again. Alexander Wolf is back. This is a terrifying sight for the whole roster. A real message sent by the dangerous Europeans. And another European who is desperate to send a message is the one and only Finn Balor. He's up next to deliver a receipt 7 years in the making to Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the match is absolutely as brutal as you'd expect. Finn has told Judgment Day to stay out of it and that he needs to do this for himself. And do this for himself, he certainly does. He brings back that Finn Balor. The Finn Balor that defeated Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship 7 years ago. He overwhelms Rollins, who is still feeling the effects of his assault a couple of weeks ago. And Balor throughout the match looks for multiple coup de grace, but Seth Rollins knows how imperative it is that he avoids that at all costs on those ribs. The failed attempts don't stop Balor though. He slams Rollins off every surface he can find, and he gets him down on the outside, and decides that he wants to attempt the ultimate coup de grace. He goes to the very top. Balor leaps off, but Rollins moves, and little did Balor know, Rollins had a chair underneath him, and Balor landed on the steel and twisted his ankle. Not another injury in another big match. Rollins grabs him, throws him in the ring, quickly goes to the top. He nails him with a Phoenix Splash. This has got to be it. 1, 2, no! Balor kicks. Rollins has to show no mercy though. He goes to the top again, and he looks for another, but Balor kips up this time. He tosses Rollins off the top rope, and then he hits a sling blade, and now Balor hobbles over to the corner, climbs again. This has to be the time. He leaps off, but no! Rollins moved again. Balor can't even put any weight on the ankle now, and Rollins takes his chance, hits a curb stomp, and survives. But he doesn't even get a chance to celebrate. It's been a real theme tonight. He gets beaten down by Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. They're ruthless, but conspicuous in his absence is Damian Priest. But they hammer away on him regardless. It's unrelenting, and he's completely obliterated. It's the new Mr. Money in the Bank! Surely not this way. Rhea and Dominic are still hammering away on Rollins, but now Balor has even joined in as well. This is the perfect opportunity for Knight. He's going to cash in on the same night he won the case. The American Nightmare is here. He's had issues with Judgment Day, and he sprints out for the save. He nails Balor with a crossroads on the outside. He slides to the ring and chases Rhea out of it. But from behind then, he gets a cheap shot from Dominic, his opponent in the very next match. And in the madness of it all, LA Knight has decided that this isn't his time. He leaves for backstage. But back in the ring though, Rhodes is trying to get to his feet, and when he does, the bell rings and Dominic jumps all over him. He's gotten the perfect start, even if it was a cheap one. And even with Finn Balor in the wars and having to limp backstage for treatment, and Damian being MIA, Mami is still there for Dom Dom. And she causes havoc. Every time the referee's back is turned, Rhea Ripley is there for some kind of cheap shot. Cody is on the ropes. He's struggling with what is essentially 2-on-1, but someone has seen enough. Natalya sprints out, and her and Rhea Ripley get into it on the outside, and then eventually all the way through the crowd. And now Dominic is panicking. He's looking out into the crowd. He's hoping for Mami to come back, but she's gone. And Rhodes is ready, and he pounces. He nails a crossroads on Dominic, and he picks up the win. The moment it became 1-on-1, Dominic was done for. And Cody laps up the crowd in London. It's another step in his journey to finish the story. Brock Lesnar! He did show up! And he's calling Rhodes on for a fight! The crowd is going berserk! And of course, Rhodes is more than happy to oblige. He heads down the ramp and the brawl is on, but it quickly gets broken up by security and staff. The next time these two men meet will be an all-out war. But will it be as violent as Civil War, which is your main event of the evening? And it couldn't be more personal. It's blood versus blood. The island of relevancy has 2 less inhabitants, and now they're storming the beach to try and burn it to the ground. And it's an emotional battle. Everything that was boiling just underneath the surface has exploded, and Roman is even more uncompromising than usual. He really makes Jay pay for turning down the chance to be the tribal chief in the future. He really makes Jimmy pay as well for being the first one to stray, for leading his brother away from the bloodline as well. And Solo, he is clearly still under the influence of the tribal chief, and he puts a beating on both of his brothers as well. But this is the Usos, one of, if not the greatest tag teams in the history of professional wrestling. Driven by passion and personal pride, they fight all the way back. They get all their punishment in too, all their frustration for all the years of gaslighting and manipulation that Roman has put them through. It truly is civil war. But in the latter stages, it all gets too much. Solo is manhandling Jimmy in the ring. Roman is destroying Jay on the outside. And someone from the family has seen enough. Rikishi gets in the ring and he's screaming at Solo to stop. And he says, "This is your brother. I am your father. Why are you doing this to the family?" And then Roman gets in the ring and says, "This isn't your fight. You stay out of it." "Not my fight? These are my sons. And you think this isn't about me? This is me. These boys are me." Solo, put him down. I said, Solo, handle him. Fine, I'll do it myself. Solo drops the tribal chief. He steps in for his real blood, his father and his brothers. It's high emotion, high drama. And as Rikishi leaves the ring with Solo, Jay is the legal man and he has his opportunity, the ultimate revenge. He's gonna go to the top and he's gonna land the splash that ends it all. Heyman, the last man standing beside the tribal chief. He would rather a disqualification than see Roman Reigns pinned. But the wise man meets a bad man. Rikishi lays out Heyman with, yes, a Samoan spike. Rikishi and his boys leave. And as they stand on the entranceway, they look back at the island of relevancy, which shows a man without a family, a Roman with no empire, a chief without a tribe. And from a chaotic Money in the Bank, it was then time for SummerSlam, and it gets off to an extraordinary start. Logan Paul and Ricochet are tearing it up, and Ricochet, dressed like a puma, shows exactly why. He's flying everywhere, and Logan is super impressive as well. He shows he can fly too. He stuns the crowd with pure athleticism, and once again, he shows out. But this is Ricochet, one of the most athletic wrestlers of all time, and he one-ups him at every opportunity. But Logan is poised. He springboards off, but misses Ricochet and collects the referee instead. He's down, and Ricochet tries to grab Logan, but Logan drops him with a right hand, and Logan deviously goes out to get a weapon. He's gonna put Ricochet away in the worst possible way. It's LA Knight! He walks out to ringside. Logan is beside himself. He leaps out at LA Knight, but he moves. Logan is in trouble, and Knight drops him on the outside, picks him up, rolls him in the ring, and Ricochet has now recovered and climbed to the top. He nails the 630, and Logan gets exactly what he deserves. Ricochet wins with the aid of the megastar. And it sets up a potential future battle between Logan and Knight that is tantalizing. But speaking of tantalizing, the main event later tonight will be as well. And Roman is backstage with the Wise Man and Solo Sikoa, and it is tense. My tribal chief, it's not too late to... Paul, enough. In fact, both of you, leave me alone. I don't want you out there, and I don't want you in here. Tribal combat is 1-on-1. But before we can get to that main event, the next clash is the first title match of the night between Asuka, Bianca Belair and Charlotte. And this one doesn't disappoint at all either. These women have been at each other's throats for weeks, and it's an instant classic given the immense talent of all three. It's so even, no woman can get a distinct advantage. It's back and forth, and there's close calls all round. but the way it culminates is extraordinary. Charlotte leaps off the top rope with a corkscrew and wipes out Asuka on the outside. She slides back in the ring, and Bianca is groggy. Charlotte takes her down, and it's time. She locks in the figure eight. Bianca is writhing in pain. Charlotte is going to add another championship to her resume. But then Asuka slides in, and as the referee is distracted, looking at Bianca, asking if she wants to tap out, Asuka hits Charlotte with the mist. Charlotte's eyes are burning, and she's still tangled up with Bianca, and Asuka covers Charlotte. The referee then notices, he makes the count, and unbelievably, Asuka steals the win. It is brilliant, it is devious, and Asuka retains her championship. But speaking of devious, backstage right after, it's Grayson Waller, and he's doing a roaming Grayson Waller effect, and he stumbles across none other than the almighty Bobby Lashley. And he interrupts a meeting between Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. They walk away, but Lashley doesn't, and he's not happy about getting interrupted, and he says, "The hell do you want, Waller?" And Waller says, "Ha, relax, mate. Oi, so what's going on with you and these boys, eh? Doing some business or what, eh?" No one cares, mate, honestly. Talk to me about what you've been doing lately. You've been pretty boring, mate. You've done nothing. How's that for nothing? Now I want to ask you, what are you gonna do? Lashley not taking any of Waller's antics, and he wanders off. But closely behind him is LA Knight again, fresh off his confrontation with Logan Paul, and he says, "Ha, what a shame that wasn't me. How about you keep LA Knight's name out of your mouth as well, Waller? Dummy." Absolutely no nonsense from the almighty or LA Knight. And when you talk no nonsense, you have to also be talking about the showdown between Gunther and Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship. And it's complete physical carnage in this one. Gunther and McIntyre are two of the most physical beings on the roster, and they beat the hell out of each other. It's pure in-ring war. This match is everything you'd expect from two beasts. There's chops, right and left hands, there's kicks, they land everything. They batter and bruise each other, and unsurprisingly, it's that physicality that brings the match to an abrupt end. Gunther lands a massive chop to Drew that buckles him. He then picks him up, smashes him with a devastating powerbomb, usually the end for most. But Drew kips up, and he screams in the face of Gunther. He fires off the ropes and nails Gunther with a claymore, usually the end for most. But Gunther gets up as well, and he screams into the face of McIntyre. They just won't wilt, but they're forced to. They both lean back, and they both land headbutts. They both collapse to the mat, and they are both out. They've given everything, and the referee counts, and the match is a draw. Nothing separating either man. Gunther grasps onto the Intercontinental Championship, and the chance to beat Honky Tonk Man's record still intact, but only barely. And Becky Lynch has barely made it through the hurdles put in front of her by her opponent, Trish Stratus, to land the next match. Undoubtedly one of the GOATs of the women's division versus a future Hall of Famer. And it's gotten seriously personal between both, and it shows. They fight all over the stage. You can feel the hatred through the screen and in the arena. But as expected, Trish hasn't rolled into Detroit alone. And it isn't long before Zoe Stark tries to interject herself into the match, and she's successful. Becky gets baited in, and it gives Trish the chance to capitalize. And even when Becky is able to fight back into it, Stark keeps getting involved and being a nuisance until the cavalry arrives. Lita is back. She runs up the steps, onto the apron, and leaps off at Stark and hits a Hurricane Rana on the outside. Trish is beside herself in the ring. She's yelling at Zoe to help, and it gives Becky the perfect opening. She takes her down and disarms Trish Stratus. She's forced to tap out, and Trish is thwarted by the man and one of her most famous rivals. But the famous rivalries don't even stop there, as Cody Rhodes enters into the final chapter with the Beast. And SummerSlam is Brock's domain. He's had some of his biggest and most brutal victories here. And this is looking absolutely no different. He brutalizes Rhodes. He throws him all over the ring. German suplex after German suplex. It's akin to the John Cena domination of years past. Cody is right up against the odds. Lesnar has him in the corner, runs at him, but Cody moves and Lesnar gets caught in the top rope. It's a small opening, but it's an opening nonetheless. And Cody throws what he has left at Lesnar. He's hurting, but he's wearing down the beast. He gets on top, but not for long enough. He gets another German and another. Cody is basically out. It's all but over, except for one more thing. Lesnar wants one final F5 as an exclamation mark. Cody slips out the back. He hits Lesnar with a crossroads, but he knows he needs more. He picks him up and he lands one more. Cody has him on the rack. Again, he knows this is Brock Lesnar. He needs one more. He picks him up and he lands the final full stop on this chapter. Rhodes barely gets over the line. He pins the beast. He proves that even in the face of adversity, you can still conquer your fears and overcome. The Nightmare triumphs, but little does he know, the nightmare has just begun. This is truly a nightmare. The whole roster is on notice with the return of Bray Wyatt. Just like the whole women's division has been on notice for weeks, the change of heart from the Queen of Spades, Shayna Baszler, and she enters into not a match, but a fight against Ronda Rousey up next. And it's MMA rules, knockout or submission only, and it is on right away. Both women have extensive experience and it shows. Both women are incredibly dangerous with submissions, but it's Baszler on the feet that does the big damage. She lights her up with combinations. She outclasses Rousey there, but it evens up on the ground with a Rousey takedown. And it's a scramble, but this is Rousey's wheelhouse. She grabs the arm, locks in the armbar, and it has to be over. Barely anyone ever escapes. She's won so many matches this way, and Baszler is so driven and determined and uses her technique that she's able to escape. She grabs Rousey's back and locks in the Kirifuda clutch. It's in tight and Rousey fades and eventually goes to sleep. Baszler silences the critics. She silences everyone who blindly associates everything she does with Ronda Rousey. She puts the rivalry to bed and we can move on to bigger and better things. Just like Austin Theory would like to do against Rey Mysterio. He wants to put another legend away like he did John Cena at WrestleMania. And it's on another massive stage. And Theory gets off to a dominant start. He overpowers Rey and he looks good, taking all the shortcuts he can. He tries putting his feet on the ropes, but that fails. He tries holding onto the tights in a roll-up, but that fails as well, and Rey kicks out. And Theory, starting to get frustrated, gets desperate. And he starts to remove the turnbuckle pad, but it's not to use it. It's to distract the referee. And now, while the referee is attempting to fix it, Theory looks for a low blow, but Rey counters, and he spikes Theory's head off the mat with a Hurricane Rana. But then, in classic Mysterio style, he lands the Hurricane Rana into the ropes. He propels off, lands the 619, and goes to the top. Rey leaps off with the classic frog splash, gets the pin, and we have a new United States champion. Rey captures the title for the first time since 2020. And the man who he defeated to enter this very match, LWO's own Santos Escobar, is the first person to come out and celebrate with him. Escobar has put Rey Mysterio down. What the hell is this about? Santos picks up the US Championship and says, "This should have been mine." It's jealousy. Ray beats Santos on SmackDown to get the match at SummerSlam. It's a shocking turn of events. Santos makes it very clear that that championship is firmly in his sights. Just like the championship is in the sights of Jey Uso, who is getting ready backstage before the big main event with Roman Reigns when he's approached by someone he knows very well. Jey, tonight's the night, man. I'm so proud of you. And you know, I hate to say I told you so, but... And Jey agrees. He says, yeah, I know. It was a wild time, man, but thank you for being real. Thank you for always being an Uso. There's no honorary needed anymore. Sammy Uso forever. And also, don't let those Judgment Day fools do that to Kev. Oh, I won't. You just win. You end this the right way. Sammy walks off, and Jey has the title and the mantle of Tribal Chief in his sights. Just like the World Championship is firmly in the sights of Finn Balor as he makes his way towards the ring 7 years after facing Seth Rollins at this very event for the Universal Championship. And while Finn is out there alone, as Seth comes to the ring, he knows damn well that it won't be the case for very long. And the heat between the two is really evident. They, for lack of a better term, burn it down. Rollins is in classic form. He's all over Balor. The Revolutionary is showing why he's a true fighting champion. But as he thought, he was never going to be alone long. Here comes Damian Priest. But people are wondering just why. He is Senor Money in the Bank, after all. But he isn't the only member to come down here. Dominic follows after, but before Dominic even reaches the ring, Sammy attacks from the side. He owes Judgment Day a real receipt for injuring his friend Kevin Owens. He wipes out Dominic, but it still leaves the problem of Priest. But Rollins looks to take care of that himself. He has Balor subdued in the corner and he goes out after Priest. He leaps to the outside, he wipes him out, but then he picks him up and he nails him with a Revolution knee. Rollins now has his opportunity. He loads him up onto the announce table and Rollins jumps off, but Priest moves. Rollins goes crashing through, and now Priest might have an opportunity. Priest could potentially cash in right now. Balor, he's back up. He grabs Rollins. He sends him into the ring. Priest is a little bit hesitant, but Balor goes to the top, nails a coup de grace, makes the cover, and Finn Balor, 7 years later, beats Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. It's a massive moment. Rhea holds gold, Dominic holds gold, and now Finn Balor holds gold. Everyone in Judgment Day except one. Rhea Ripley, she's up next to face Raquel Rodriguez, but while it's usually customary for the champion to enter last, she had to come out to defuse a potential situation between Priest and Balor. They both cautiously leave the ring, and as Rhea congratulates Finn from inside it, Damian offers to stay at ringside, but Rhea says, "Nah, I've got this. Raquel's on one leg. Soon, she won't be able to walk at all." And Priest and Balor leave ringside. And then Raquel Rodriguez enters and the match gets underway. And Raquel gets off to a solid start. She's clearly hurt, as the knee brace would suggest, but she's able to fight through the pain and get some good offense in on Rhea. And Raquel is all on her own after the disgusting injury sustained to her partner Liv Morgan at the hands of Rhea Ripley. But as we just saw, Ripley is on her own by her own choice. And it's because she knew. All she needed was an opening, and she gets it. Rhea ruthlessly works the leg, absolutely battering the knee. Raquel holds on gallantly, The match comes to a screeching halt when Ripley locks in the prison trap. Gonzalez holds on as long as she can, but resistance is futile. Ripley isn't gonna let go. Raquel taps, purely just to live to fight another day. But Ripley holds on for just that little bit longer, all for good measure, to make sure she wrings out the pain. And as she eventually relents, she holds the title aloft. And now, Judgment Day hold the Women's World Championship, the Men's World Championship, the NXT North American Championship, and Money in the Bank. The stocks are high. Their dominance is undeniable, just like the dominance of the Bloodline, who are now about to be embroiled in tribal combat. Reigns said earlier in the night he didn't want Paul or Solo at ringside. Jay doesn't have Jimmy, and it's one-on-one. It's anything goes. In tribal combat, there are no rules. It's last man standing. It's not only for the Undisputed Universal Championship, but who will be the tribal chief. It's carnage. It's violent. It's personal. Reigns has shown some cracks recently, some weaknesses. But when the heat is on and the bell rings, he's back to form. He cracks everything he can get his hands on over Jay, and they fight all over. They completely trash the ringside area. Jay gets his stuff in as well. He's just as vicious as Roman, because this is as personal as it gets. Roman is constantly reminding Jay that it doesn't have to be like this as well. Jay, just give up. This isn't you. You aren't ready for this. You aren't cut out to be the tribal chief. I made you. The elders, they don't respect you. But Jay isn't hearing this. He breaks away and he starts overwhelming Roman. Reigns is showing the cracks we've seen, the chinks in the armor that have developed without the full bloodline backing, and Jay has him rocked. But despite Roman's orders, Paul panics, and now Paul Heyman comes out. He feels like he needs to do something. But Roman sees this, and he screams at him to leave. This is not the orders. This is not what I said, Paul. Heyman leaves. He's terrified. But it was part of Heyman's plan, because now Solo is in the ring. He's going to attack Jay. But just before he does, Roman steps in again and says, "This isn't the plan. I told you to stay away. Tribal Chief's orders." He obeys the tribal chief. But how long will he be the tribal chief for? Because Jay takes the chance. He hits a super kick. He calls him up. He hits another one. And now he goes to the top. He's gonna do it. He's gonna end all of this. He leaps off with a splash, but gets nailed by a Samoan spike. Solo puts him down. Roman recovers. He lines up Jay, and he delivers a spear. But he rubs salt in the wound. He picks him up, locks in the guillotine. Jay fades out. The match is over. It's a devastating full circle moment. Reigns retains. He has the championship still in his grasp. There is still the true crown of tribal chief. Solo grabs the lei and he gets in the ring. Solo drapes it over Roman's neck. Roman still reigns. For now. Solo puts the tribal chief down. Solo decides that it is in fact him that wants to dethrone Roman. It is in fact him that wants to be the tribal chief. And now Roman is going to have to defend his territory all on his own. He has to do it solo. But while Solo won that battle, it was then time for war. And it's War Games to kick us off. All 8 women are colliding, and it's Damage Control taking on the all-star team of Belair, Shotzi, Flair, and the surprise entrant who has huge beef with Damage Control in Becky Lynch. It's pure chaos and carnage. There's bodies flying all over the place. But it's one body that takes the ultimate risk and leaps off the top with an insane elbow, and Kairi Sane pins Bianca Belair to win it for her team. She's been an incredible inclusion to the group, but it's an exclusion of the group that takes everyone by surprise. Because as Bayley is trying to instruct everyone to leave, they don't listen to her. They only listen to Dakota Kai, and her instruction is to take Bayley out. Dakota throws Bayley back in the ring, and they destroy her. Bayley is completely decimated, and Dakota is revealed as the mastermind behind it all. It's the ultimate betrayal, but we temporarily move from betrayal to a potential arrival, because we get another cryptic message from Shinsuke Nakamura, who simply says in his native tongue, "The time is near. Show yourself tonight." This stirs up a lot of excitement with the Chicago crowd. But just like we saw with Bayley, betrayal is on the mind with the next match when Carlito defends the honor of Rey Mysterio, who is out injured at the hands of Carlito's opponent, Santos Escobar. And it's heated given the respect that Carlito has for Rey. He tries to make sure Santos is punished for his actions, but ultimately Santos is able to show just that little bit more aggression, and he wins the match. But once again, it's after the match that the drama rises because Santos is trying to injure Carlito again in the same way, and he's taking him over towards the stairs. But we then see the rest of the LWO come out for the save. And despite the history Santos has with Wilde and Del Toro in the Legado del Fantasma, not even they can really understand what's gotten into him. Santos bails through the crowd, and you know it's far from over, especially when Rey returns from injury. But while it might be hard for the LWO to understand why Santos turned on them all, it's not hard to understand why Gunther has been the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. And it's The Miz who is looking to bring it all to an end. And The Miz has somewhat had a change in personality lately, and it serves him well in this match because the crowd actually gets behind him, and this annoys Gunther a lot. It actually gets under his skin, and he starts making mistakes, which opens the door for the biggest chance of the match for The Miz. Gunther looks for a wild lariat, but he misses, and Miz then gets him up and nails a skull-crushing finale. But it doesn't crush the reign of Gunther there. He barely kicks out. Miz quickly picks him up again though. He wants another one, but Gunther breaks out of it. And then he breaks the Miz with a lariat. And he immediately picks him up, power bombs him, stacks him, and wins. Gunther's reign continues, just like the cryptic messages from Shinsuke Nakamura. We see another short but intriguing vignette where he says, "Look into my eyes. I fear no man. Show yourself. I'm waiting." Shinsuke continues his dark messaging. He wants someone to show their face tonight. And the crowd is on the edge of their seats. But then they're brought out of their seats because on the screen we see none other than the megastar LA Knight, who's asked for comment on his match against Bloodline right-hand man Solo Sikoa, which goes down very shortly. And Knight says, "Everyone said after Crown Jewel, when I lost to Roman Reigns, oh, LA Knight, he's done with the Bloodline. Nah. It couldn't be further from the truth. Because I'm going to pick off each and every one of you and make my way back to Roman Reigns, and it's looking like I'm going to have to do it solo, starting with Sikoa." And stop me if you think you've heard this one before, because to be honest, it feels a little bit like deja vu. It feels like we've seen it all before. But it's going to have a different ending. And it ends with a brand new WWE champion with everybody saying, LA Knight is on fire, and the anticipation couldn't be higher for the match, or for the men's War Game match in the main event later tonight. And Judgment Day are all together and they're strategizing on how they want it to play out. It's their chance to take even more power. And with them is Drew McIntyre, who looks poised to run riot and the excitement grows. But one member isn't part of the meeting, and it's because Rhea Ripley is about to defend her women's championship against the rising star in Zoe Stark, and it's one of the most competitive matches of the night. Zoe really shows out and shows just how much she belongs in the ring with Ripley. She gets her in position and she spins her around for a K360, but Ripley catches the knee and then lands a riptide. Ripley is too strong. Ripley is too good. It's incredibly impressive. And right after the match, Rhea is going off. She says there's no one left. No one is even remotely close to touching Mommy. I beat 4 women at Crown Jewel. I beat the best that you could find right here tonight, so now what? Who could possibly be anywhere near me? It's Jade Cargill! She's staring down with the immovable object in Rhea Ripley. And she doesn't even have to say a word, because everybody knows Cargill is the irresistible force. Cargill is officially on Raw. And Raw General Manager Adam Pearce is seen backstage very pleased, and he's watching it all next to SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis. And he says, I've got to say, very impressive signing. But we both know she's not the only free agent we both want to get our hands on. But just as Aldis says this, a staff member bursts in and says, Gentlemen, he's arrived. Both general managers quickly walk off. Is this the free agent that we're both talking about? They both want to get that signature, but on their way past, they cross paths with Shinsuke Nakamura. And he just watches them. He knows that this is the moment he's been waiting for, and he heads to the ring. CM Punk is back! After months of speculation, he blows the roof off in Chicago! Punk gets in the ring, and it's deafening! He's face to face with Nakamura, and the atmosphere is electric! They look directly into each other's eyes. The crowd is going ballistic! Neither man is conceding ground! Until Nakamura throws the first strike, but it's blocked and reversed into a massive, earth-shattering GTS, and it brings the house down. The crowd goes crazy. Nakamura is down, and Punk is back. Everyone is on notice. It's a huge moment, a moment for the ages. But as Punk laps up the moment in front of his people, it's still unclear where his allegiance lies. Will it be Raw or will it be SmackDown? But backstage, we do see someone who has made a decision to be on SmackDown, and it's Logan Paul. And he's now just arriving at the building. And he's greeted by a flustered Nick Aldis, who says, "Why haven't you answered any of my calls, Logan? I've been trying to contact you constantly." But Logan cuts him short and says, "Relax, boss. I got this. I like to keep people on their toes, and that's why I'm the champ. I'm here to save the show. I haven't missed anything, have I? Nothing major going on?" Well, there's about to be. Because guess what? I'm holding an open challenge later tonight for my US title. But right now, I've got a little match to watch. Yeah. Aldis doesn't look happy with the lack of respect. But Logan goes looking for a monitor to watch the next match. What the hell? That's nasty. Logan is confused, but he finds the monitor to watch the match, and it's a big one. It's time for LA Knight to get some revenge on the Bloodline when he faces the man who helped cost him the WWE Championship at Crown Jewel, but also a man who is fresh off beating John Cena at the same event. And these two are both at the peak of their powers, and it shows. LA Knight wants to pick off the Bloodline one by one until he gets back to Roman Reigns, but it is of course the Bloodline who get involved in the form of Paul Heyman and Jimmy Uso. And it's Heyman who's trying to distract the referee, but it's Jimmy who's getting physically involved. But it backfires because he runs at Knight in the corner, but Knight pulls Solo in the way and Jimmy lands a splash on him instead. Then he lands on his face via a blunt force trauma. It sends Jimmy out of the ring, but Solo is up. He grabs Knight by the throat, but he reverses and then he hits Solo with a BFT as well. Heyman is in full panic mode, and rightfully so, because Solo Sikoa loses. And even though Roman Reigns isn't in attendance, his presence is very much felt through Heyman telling Solo and Jimmy that he will not be happy. And he ushers them away, and as he leaves, LA Knight is in the ring, bathing in the applause, when all of a sudden, he's interrupted by Logan Paul, who has very conveniently chosen this time for his open challenge. He meets Knight in the middle of the entranceway, and it's tense. But LA Knight says, "It might not be tonight, but it will be eventually. And once I've got that WWE title, I might just come for yours." Clearly, Knight doesn't like Logan as much as the next guy, but it won't be him who answers the open challenge. So who will it be? Well, it's actually Nick Aldis who has the answer when he comes out and he says, "Logan, I bet you're wondering, just like all of us, who's going to answer this challenge. Well, I took care of it for you, and I found the perfect man. And it's someone who can consider their suspension lifted." Kevin Owens has his suspension lifted, and Aldis has done it almost purely as punishment to Logan. And Owens walks right in, the belt is held aloft, the bell rings, and he punches Logan straight in the face. He's all over him, completely overwhelming him. Logan has wrestled some of the best in the business in his short career, but defending a title and also taking on a pissed off, fired up Kevin Owens is a different beast. And Owens throws him to the outside. He's going to finish him off with his infamous apron powerbomb. But Logan manages to fight out, and not only that, now, through the crowd, is Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. They try to blow the match apart. It's disgraceful, but Owens manages to hit a stunner on Waller, and then he hits one on Theory as well. But Logan has slid back in the ring, so Owens follows him, and Logan nails him with a huge right hand. He covers him, but not only that, he puts his feet on the rope, and he steals the win. And he very quickly bails out with the US title, and as he gets to the top of the stage, he says, "Ha, I think I like those guys." And still, baby, the crowd isn't happy. It's the last thing they wanted to see. Waller and Theory are on top. Waller and Theory are gloating and bathing in the boos. But those boos instantly turn to cheers when they see on the Tron none other than the returning Randy Orton. He was revealed as the 5th member on Cody Rhodes' team for War Games, and it's Cody that he's talking with. And Cody says, "It's great to have you back, Randy. And I appreciate you answering the call when I made it. I can't wait to fight beside you again, just like old times." And Randy says, "I appreciate it. Just like old times. We'll see you out there." War is on. Judgment Day have driven this entirely through tormenting the entire roster, and they're made even stronger by managing to get Drew McIntyre on side as well, and he's doing big damage. He's the real ace in the hole. But Orton is just as big an addition as Drew, and he brings an equal amount of danger. and all 10 men fight with absolutely everything they have. There's so much hatred, there's so much violence, and it's a genuine battle for power and control of Monday Night Raw. And it's such an even battle, and that is typified by how it comes to an end. On one side of the cage, Drew McIntyre is battling world champion Seth Rollins, and on the other side, Randy Orton is battling Senior Money in the Bank and self-proclaimed leader of Judgment Day, Damian Priest. And at practically the exact same time, Drew hits a Claymore, Randy hits an RKO, and they both make the cover. But who does the referee see first? 1, 2, 3. The match is over, and the referee counted the shoulders of Damian Priest. Drew McIntyre had Rollins finished, but he gets incredibly unlucky. Rhodes, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton win it. Full power is kept from the grips of Judgment Day, and all 5 men stand triumphant on the stage. But it's not over. The most shocking moment is left to last. Orton drops Rollins, and now his motives upon his return are clear. The Viper stands with no one, but he stands above Seth Rollins as the latest threat to his World Heavyweight Championship. The voices are louder than ever.